So for the past 2 weeks, we've been talking about how to actually make your New Year's resolutions stick this year, make it a little bit different from last year. There is a formula to successful goal setting. The first step is awareness, where you're at. The second step is vision, where you want to be. And today we're talking about perhaps the hardest and most important step, discipline. To talk more about this and the 5 plateaus of progress, we're joined again by Jerry Madigan. Hi, Jerry.
Hi, Helena.
Okay, so we've talked about awareness, figuring out where you're at, figuring out where you want to be. That's the vision part of it. The discipline part is the hardest part.
Oh, it's the big step, and it's the one that stops most people because they want to jump immediately from vision. They know where they want to be, so now going to change. And it doesn't happen as easily as that, because if they do that, invariably they fail because they haven't created what I call the infrastructure that's able to sustain that change. And this comes on the plateau of discipline. Developing your own self-discipline, developing routines. There are various techniques that you can use to develop that sense of self-discipline that's required to move to the next plateau, which is the plateau of change.
And that's really interesting. You'll talk about a 28-day formula coming up, but it's really about emotional control or mastery over the self. Talk about that.
Oh, absolutely. It's the whole program is about being in control. You know, there's an old Taoist saying, it says, seek not to control, seek to be in control. And this is getting in control of your emotions, your feelings, because you may set a tremendous goal or a plan that you're going to do over the next few days or the next few weeks, and some morning you wake up and you feel, oh, I just don't feel like it today, you know. And the secret in self-discipline is being able to subordinate your feelings to your independent will. Now, it's a huge step, but if you actually get over that step, you can achieve almost anything you want to achieve.
And how do you do that?
Well, one of the first things is that this 28-day test. People think, well, gosh, do something for 28 days, that's no problem. Well, it's quite a problem. The number of people who fail, it's astronomical, and the number of people who succeed is only tiny. To do something exactly the same time every day for 28 days, non-stop, no excuses, just do it for 28 days. And it's almost irrelevant what it is, as long as it's something positive. But if you do it consistently, it develops the routine, it sort of retrains the mind, the internal clock, that you do this for 28 days. On the 29th day, you'll do it automatically. But that's one of the first steps in actually developing this self-discipline in your life.
That comes from the old adage of it takes 3 weeks to make a habit and it takes 3 weeks to break a habit, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it takes the time. You have to put time into these things, you know. And people want these quick fixes. Yeah. There are no quick fixes. If you want to really achieve some real significant change in your life, you have to go through the various plateaus. You have to know where you're at. You have to capture a vision, a driving force that'll propel you. And then you have to go through this huge plateau of discipline. You have to get in control of your life, subordinate your feelings to your independent will, and to be able to carry out these routines so that you're a disciplined person. It's the greatest barometer of recognizing where am I at in self-discipline, what sort of level am I at by doing this 28-day test.
It's actually about character.
Absolutely, it builds character. Nothing like it. I mean, self-discipline, it not only builds character, but it gives you incredible focus, because when we're trying to set and achieve goals, they have to become front and foremost in our minds. So we have to develop this power of focus. There's nothing like self-discipline to develop that power of focus, where you can really focus in and say, yeah, this is what I want to achieve. And you're not distracted by all the things that are going on around you. No, you've got a goal, you've got a focus, and you've got the discipline to actually carry it through.
Now, we've all heard the phrase, oh, it's all mind over matter, but that doesn't really apply now, does it?
Well, you know, the mind is important. You have to have this mental, we talked about the mental imagery and vision, yes, but you have to have the presence of mind, and you have to have the mental capacity to focus. So it is a lot to do with the mind, but it's not all. You can't think yourself out of something you've behaved yourself into.
And that's really the key, is behavior.
It's the behavior. It's changing the behavior. So you can think all you like, but until you actually put it into action and start this action plan and taking steps to change the behavior, nothing is actually going to change.
And this is the sticky part. I think this is where people, you know, sort of they get that, you know, motivated feeling in the new year. They've got this blank slate in front of them. This is what I want to accomplish. Okay, I know where I want to be. And then it actually gets into the hard work of actually doing it day after day after day. And you had talked about an example of getting up early, for example, a half an hour earlier than you normally do. And I think you told me that it was by the second week that people start really dropping off on that.
Yeah, that's right. It's amazing. That's why I say it's not as easy as it looks. But if you do that, that's a very, very simple thing to do. But get up, you know, half an hour earlier. By the 28th day, by the 29th day, you'll wake in the morning at that time automatically. You need no alarm, nothing. It just happens because your internal clock has accepted this. You're retraining the mind. You're sending this message to the subconscious, and your whole body, your whole internal clock is beginning to respond to it. And that's what happens. That's how we get in control of our bodies, get in control of our emotions by developing this self-discipline.
What about the argument of like, well, whatever happened to spontaneity?
Oh yeah, there's plenty of room for spontaneity, you know, and you can be spontaneous about various things in life. But if you're serious about setting a really an important goal in your life that you want, you're not happy, you have this holy discontent or dissatisfaction with where you are. If you're not dissatisfied and if you're not discontent, well, you're not going to set any really significant goals. But if you are and you need to change certain things in your life, well, then the goal has to become a serious goal, and you have to take serious steps and methodical, concrete steps in order to achieve that goal.
Well, thank you so much, Jerry.
Thank you, a pleasure.
Okay, next time we'll be talking about plateau number 4, which is change. So we've been talking with Jerry Madigan about the 5 plateaus of progress. For free tips, you can contact him at 225-3880 or online at www.madiganmanagement.com. So next week, we'll talk about the 4th plateau, and that's change. Stay with us.